and it was a Thursday afternoon. I remember exactly where I was sitting. I remember what I was wearing. Girls do that, sorry. But you know, it was such a tender, tender moment in my life when I met Dan Higginson. And a moment that put my absolute path in motion, and it was concrete. And I will tell you what I learned. I learned what my previous experience, that networking experience that I had, I recognized at that very moment what they didn't have that Synergy had. Synergy is amazing. I'm going to tell you that I have made millions and millions and millions of dollars with Synergy. And it is impossible for me to try to explain to you the comfort to not have wicker shelves. And so what we're going to do now is I am going to take you on a little journey. Your journey, if you decide. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to talk about what Synergy is today. Because I didn't have the luxury of starting with what you guys have. I built my business, and so many other of our leaders, we started with DNA Repair Cream. It was a skincare, and that was it. And today we have something so profound that I truly am in awe of what we have at this moment. And so I hope that you recognize what you have. It's all obviously about the Vital 3. Okay? Synergy has come up with this idea of overall and total protection of the body. They really hit it right on the nail head. Specifically, we are going to talk about Pro-Arginine. We are going to talk about the history of this particular product. We're going to talk about what it means to you and how you can take advantage of this technology as well as the other V3 products, because this, I don't know if this will ever happen again in our lives. And I mean that. To give us some foundation, some of these statistics you already know. You know, heart disease, heart attack and stroke, I think, are the first and third killers in the whole world, okay? They account for, I mean, obviously more deaths than anything. They kill more people than the next 6 diseases combined, including cancer. Maybe that's an interesting statistic for some of you. That forces us to pay attention, doesn't it? Do you know that there are 6 billion people in the world, and do you know that there are half of them, about 3 billion people, that have preconditioned heart disease symptoms? And they have it, and they don't know it. The peculiar thing about heart disease, you see, is if you're not having a heart attack right now, you don't think you have this disease. Because you don't understand the magnitude of what happens at the beginning stages. How is your body trying to tell you that you're struggling? What are some of these symptoms? Well, I don't know about you. Have you ever suffered chronic pain? How many of you have ever had migraine headaches? How about high blood pressure? How about sexual dysfunction? How about diabetes or high cholesterol, lack of energy, cold extremities, depression, drug addiction, arthritis, loss of muscle mass? These are just some of the preconditioned symptoms of heart disease. Now, if you have ever had this, then you might want to say, why? Do you know that the vascular system, if put end on end, would wrap the globe more than 2 times? Can you really think about that? Your very body, Craig, in your body, you wrap the globe more than twice. Do you know, and we talked about this when we went to Delta. I love these statistics. Did you know that you would have to stack 10 capillaries on top of each other to equal the distance or the diameter of 1 hair? That's it. This amazing function of the body, blood flow, it gives oxygen, right? This is what it does. It gives oxygen, it gives nutrients, it cleans things out. If you don't have proper flow, what starts to happen? It just simply makes sense. It totally makes sense. And over time, you are going to have an accumulation of damage which will evidence itself in these manners, or worse. And often the first symptom of heart attack or heart disease is a heart attack and death. Now, we know that. Now, we're not going to focus on that because we have the most incredible information. It is incredible. Has Pro-Arginine or any of these products helped you? How many? Perfect. I just for fun want to see in this room, how many people have had a pretty amazing reaction with Pro-Arginine or the V3 products? Raise them high. Yep. Okay. Wow. Okay, that is very interesting. Would you say that you would never stop taking this product, ever? Wow. Okay, we're going to talk about that business part in a minute. Because this is really what validates the whole thing. How many of you have heard of the Nobel Prize? In 1998, you see, Dr. Louis Ignarro received the Nobel Prize, okay? He received this for the discovery of nitric oxide as a signaling molecule in the cardiovascular system. What in the world does that mean? I will tell you in a minute. But I want you to, more importantly, if you can, I want you to look at the timeline. This is what cannot be reproduced. It cannot be manufactured by any other company. These things are amazing. And for some reason, this total convergence of historical facts have landed right here in this room where you sit. And it all is about how Dr. Louis Ignarro actually read his first paper on nitric oxide in like 1972. How many years ago is that? 37 years. Look at all of the years of the research. Do you think that these kinds of things come easy? No, they do not. All of a sudden, the Nobel Prize is won. Now, here we are in 2009. What is nitric oxide? What does it mean to you? Okay, I'll tell you exactly. Nitric oxide is so important. You guys, nitric oxide governs life. Okay, really. It governs your metabolism. It governs thought. It governs so many things. The aging process. And you see, when we start aging, guess what happens? Our chemical structure triggers our bodies to stop and slow down the production of nitric oxide. And so we do. Well, then, all of a sudden, our bodies and this accumulation of damage that we do to ourselves starts kicking our rear ends. That's what happens. Well, Dr. Louis Ignarro says that nitric oxide has extraordinary importance in the health of virtually every cell in the body. Okay, that's pretty important. He also has said, has the potential of reversing and preventing the most aggressive killer in the world, heart disease. He says, it is becoming more and more clear that nitric oxide is a molecule that may prevent and cure many diseases at once. Do you know that L-arginine is the only known precursor to nitric oxide? So what does it mean? When you take pro-arginine, guess what happens? You take pro-arginine. It's this little, what is it? It is an L-arginine complex. It has some other little fun things in it. Thank you to Dr. Prendergast and the 33 PhDs at Nature Sunshine. But all of a sudden you take this, and do you want to know what it does? It triggers your pituitary to produce nitric oxide in normal levels for you. This is what is so important. Your body knows how much to produce. This is just a trigger to tell that you have permission to do so, and your life changes. You are given your youth back, and all of a sudden those things that we listed earlier, all of a sudden start going backwards. Just try it. If you have not tried it, don't take my word for it. You just try it. But that is exactly the power here. Now, just really quick, let's look at some historical validation of this, because is it just me? Is it just Louis Ignarro and the Nobel Prize? No way. It goes on and on. I bet you've heard of John Cook, have you? Okay. MD, PhD. Victor Zhao. We've heard of Dr. Prendergast. John P. Cook. Look at this timeline as we start to add a couple of more interesting things that have just compiled on this. Do you know something? John P. Cook right here, look at him. He started his interest, his graduate and his interest in this field 35 years ago. Okay, not by accident. He published his book, and then all of a sudden there's some other things that start happening. This guy, Harvard, he is the one that has done the work and is so interested in the endothelium. What is that? It's the inside, basically, of the arterial walls. We're not going to go into too much detail, but he is an absolute, I mean, read his book. It's right there. Boom, read it. Victor Zhao, same thing. Joseph Prendergast, all of a sudden, they start their careers. You guys, this is 35 years in the making for this particular moment. I find that pretty exciting. You also have a guy named Dr. Joseph Prendergast. Let me tell you what I think is so incredible about this. There is a difference, and maybe you will agree, maybe the other doctor will agree. There is a difference between laboratory work and application. They're two different things. They're both science, right? They're absolutely credible, but one is application. Joseph Prendergast, which is the weirdest thing to me, honestly, he started about 20 years ago addressing the need of his patient base with elemental L-arginine. And the goofiest thing about this, how many people you know something? We know, was nutritionals embraced 10 years ago?